Have you ever wanted to read more, but you just feel like there's not enough time in a day? I get it. Look, I'm a father of three. I'm a high school English teacher. I am involved in youth ministry and I run a YouTube channel. And yet, and I'm not bragging, I promise, I was able to surpass my reading goal, which was pretty ambitious. This year, I tried to read 104 books. That's 2 books a week, and I managed to surpass it with a few days left in a year. So if I can find some time to read, I think that you can too. And these tips are aimed to help you not only save money when reading, but to integrate it into part of your life so it becomes just part of who you are. In this video, we'll cover everything from choosing the right format that fits your lifestyle best to making reading the habit you've always wanted it to be. So let's start by choosing the right format for you. Everybody has a preference when it comes down to reading. Some people prefer physical books, other people prefer ebooks, audiobooks, or a combination of all of them, and all of them have their pros and cons. When it comes to physical books, some people love that tactile experience of being able to hold the book, to feel the weight of it, to turn its pages, to get the smell, and then when you finish that book, just to give it that final close, and then you're done with it. But they're not easy to carry around, and sometimes if you're going from here to there, it's not the best option. But if physical books are your preference, try to have a collection of books close and nearby. So every time you get a chance, you'll be able to pick one up and read. Make sure you put them in a place that you see often. Out of sight is out of mind, right? So if you see the books more often, then you'll be more inclined to read. Ebooks are perfect for portability. Rather than carrying around a big book, it's easier to carry around an entire library on a tablet or an app on your phone. Plus, they're often cheaper, instantly available, and you can never ruin one the way you can a physical book. I use Amazon's Kindle service often when I'm reading my ebooks, but I also use my library's e-service, which is Libby, and I also use Logos Bible software to read many of my theology books. Look into many different services and find the one that's right for you, the most convenient, and that makes reading easiest. Audiobooks are a game changer. Whether you're running around or doing groceries or exercising or whatever the case may be, it makes multitasking super easy and gives you more time to read. Now, I know a lot of people are going to push back and say that audiobooks aren't really reading, but I tend to think of it as just reading with my ears instead of my eyes. And if you really think about it, stories were told in the oral tradition long before they were ever written down. So audiobooks are really the original reading. Now, if you haven't tried audiobooks, I really recommend that you do. You can find really good narrators and different services that will help facilitate that for you. I tend to use Audible, and I usually pay for the whole year upfront. And what that does, it gives me 12 credits for the entire year, and I can pick any 12 books that are in their catalog. Additionally, I get access to their Plus catalog, which is a large variety of different books. I mean, a lot of different books, and it's constantly changing, and you get access to those as well. But the truth of the matter is, to read as many books as I read this year, I did not just pick one format, but I read in a combination of all of them. Sometimes at home, I just pick up a book and start reading it, especially if the book was a heavier, more technical book that would let me write notes in the margins. Sometimes when I was on the go and I just took one of my kids to their extracurricular activities, I would read it on an ebook. And sometimes when I'm driving or doing something else, I'd listen to an audiobook. Whether you choose one of these formats or a combination of them, what's most important is that you make reading easy. The harder it is for you to read, the less likely you are to read. So try to make it as easy and accessible as possible for you. Now, reading can be expensive, but it doesn't have to be. There are many things that you can do and many services that will get you the best bang for your buck and even get you books for free. One resource that a lot of people don't use is their local library. They have tons and tons of physical books, and they even have ebooks and audiobooks, and they're all completely free. My local library uses the Libby app, and I know some of them use Overdrive. Both of these give you access. As long as you have a library card, all you have to put is your library card number in, and you have access to tons and tons and tons of ebooks and audiobooks. Sure, sometimes you'll have to put a hold on them and wait for them to come in, but that's okay. Usually what I do in the meantime, while I'm waiting, is just to read another book. But the best thing about this whole thing is that it is absolutely free, and so you might as well take advantage of it. Another way that you can save money when it comes to reading is subscription services. Things like Audible, which I already talked about, or the Amazon Kindle Unlimited service that they have, or different services like that. With these kinds of things, you usually pay a monthly fee and then have access to many books within that 1 month. If you plan on reading a few books a month, that would make it worthwhile, and I think it's something that you should look into if you're trying to save money in the long run. These services often offer free trials, so you could always try it out for free, and if you like it, you can keep it, and if not, you can find another way. Another way for you to save a lot of money is to borrow books. Maybe you have some friends or families that are readers and you've always wanted to be a reader yourself, and you kind of look at them and say, hey, do you have any good books that you recommend that I can borrow? Make sure you take care of them, because people can get pretty protective about their books, but that's a great way to get free books, because you borrow them, and then if you like it, hey, you can buy it for yourself, and if not, then just give it back, and you can kind of create a book club where maybe you lend each other books, and that'd be a great way to share resources. I've been thinking of starting a book club here on the channel, but I'm not too sure about that. If that's something that interests you, just let me know in the comments. I have got 3 more tips for you on how to save big money when it comes to buying books. But I just want to give you an opportunity. If you found this video useful, like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know in the comments down below which is your preferred method of reading: audiobooks, physical books, or ebooks. Here's another tip on how to save money when buying books. Buy in bulk, especially when they have big sales. Now during the holidays, Black Friday sales, different times that they have sales throughout the year, just kind of be aware of that, and you can buy in bulk and save a lot of money that way. Earlier I mentioned Logos Bible software, and Logos every month gives out free books. They give you 1 free audiobook and 2 free ebooks. Sometimes they throw in a third. So be on the lookout for that. They're absolutely free. All you have to do is just click on their monthly deals and you'll see the free books, add them to your cart, and they'll be in your library. So that's a way to get free Christian content. And finally, one service that I use that's absolutely free is called Bookbub. You create an account, you fill in your preferences with what type of genre you want, and every day they send you an email where the books are significantly reduced in price. Often I'll see books just like $1.99, $2.99, and a lot of times I'll see books that are absolutely free. Now it's only ebooks and sometimes audiobooks, and although the quality can be a little bit mixed sometimes, you can build a pretty decent library if you have a discerning eye and you do a little bit of research for yourself. Now, cool, we've talked about formats, we've talked about how to save money, but how do you make reading a habit? And I've got a few tips for you as well. I think one of the biggest challenges of my job as a high school English teacher is to try to get kids to enjoy reading. But every single year, I give them the same advice. Don't give up on reading just because you've read stuff you did not like before. I am a firm believer that everybody will come to love to read if they read things that they already care about. So reading should be enjoyable. It should be something that you look forward to. It shouldn't feel like a chore. And so as a beginner reader or somebody who wants to get back into the habit, I highly suggest that you read things that you really like. Topics or genres that you've always found interested. Don't try to challenge yourself right off the beginning, but find things that you find enjoyable or interesting and read about those things. Don't worry about reading the important books. Read the ones that get you excited about reading and really into the habit. Pick up a book from a genre that you know you like. Action, thriller, fantasy, mystery, or nonfiction, whatever it is that you like the most, whatever it is that interests you the most, read books in that genre. And once you've established reading as a habit in your life, then you can begin challenging yourself to read longer books or books in genres that maybe you haven't read before or from authors that you haven't read before, but only after you've established reading as an enjoyable habit in your life. One way to maintain any habit in your life is to set small, measurable, and attainable goals in your life. So rather than saying, okay, I want to read 20 books this month, which is not a bad goal, but just say, I want to read 1 chapter a day. That's much smaller, that's much more attainable, and it's definitely measurable. Or maybe you don't want to do a page count. Just say, hey, I'm going to read 15 minutes. However far I get, 15 minutes, and that's it. Right? Start small and build up more and more, and that'll really help you get into a rhythm when it comes to reading. Clearly, finding the time to read is the biggest barrier for a lot of people. But with a little bit of effort, you could make reading an integral part of your life and your everyday routine. So, like I said earlier, one of the most effective things that you can do to make reading a part of your life is to create a routine. Read every day around the same time in the same place, and that'll really help you to kind of fall into the routine of reading. One thing you can do is tie reading into existing habits. So if every day you run on the treadmill, rather than listening to music the whole time, maybe throw on an audiobook. If every day you commute, when you get in your car, throw on an audiobook. If every day you have to take your kid to martial arts or gymnastics or soccer or a sport, right? Always bring your device with you or a book with you, and then that'll be your reading time. So whatever it is that's already a habit in your life, tie reading into that habit, and then it kind of piggybacks off of that effort and it makes it easier for you. And one thing that I think is very useful is to think about yourself as a reader. Athletes think about themselves as athletes even in the off season. Gamers think about themselves as gamers even when they're not playing a game. So just start thinking about yourself as a reader. There are no kind of qualifications for anybody who's a reader. You don't have to read X amount of books a year in order to be a reader. But if you want to read, then think about yourself as a reader, and it'll help you to kind of create this identity and then the habits to start forming. Reading is all about being intentional, whether it's finding the right format that fits your lifestyle, finding ways to be able to find books affordably or even for free, or creating habits in your life that will help you to read. Doing all of these things are little choices that you can make that will help you to find time throughout your crazy day to be able to read more. If I can do it, then so can you. I believe in you. So let me know in the comments down below, what is your reading goal for 2025, and share any tips that you have that might help other people get into the amazing habit of reading. If you don't know where to start with books and you're looking for recommendations, I post regularly book recommendations here on this channel, and I have an entire playlist dedicated to different types of Christian content. So you can check out that playlist and subscribe so you don't miss any future recommendations. If you found this video helpful, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I could really appreciate any and all support. Share this video with somebody that may want to get into reading, maybe somebody you want to start a book club with and you want to use this as the base. I would love that. Share the video. Thanks for spending time here. I'm Eric. Stay blessed and stay bookmarked.